Welcome back, friends. We have been building some cool technology related to secret messages. We learned about the transposition methods, for example, even or swap, reversal, swapping down the middle, swapping every word. And then we learned about substitution, in particular the Caesar cipher, to replace every letter with a shifted version of say, that same letter. All this cool technology allows us to create these messages which are supposed to be safe, supposed to be secret, which we can share with our friends. But unfortunately for us, this technology ended up in wrong hands, which means that our enemy got hacked to this. And now I find that two enemies are two units of the enemy are trying to talk to each other, and we do not know what messages they are using. In fact, we are in the position of the interceptor, so we are listening to their messages. Now, can we somehow break this code? The enemy is very, very smart. Enemy keeps jumbling up the messages, and we do not know what the enemy is doing. But we found that enemy messages are always 16 characters long. The first six characters are Python, and the last six characters are some kind of a secret code which enemy is sending from unit 1 to unit 2. So the question we have in front of us is, can we somehow break the enemy's code? The answer obviously is yes. And indeed, this is not a story that we are creating just for fun. We are going to drive this story. We are going to let the story, let's say, drive us in learning more about Python. So what I'm going to do next is that I'll tell you what is the processing the enemy does. In fact, enemy takes a plain text message, which is, like I said, Python plus a secret code. Next, enemy does one out of these four things. So it's either no change or an even odd swap or a reversal or say a left right swap. However, we do not know what the enemy is doing, and enemy is in fact choosing these four randomly. Next, this message goes through a Caesar shift. So it could go through any of these paths, but goes through a Caesar shift. And again, the shift is chosen randomly, and we get to observe the message at this point of time. The question is, can we break the enemy's code? In fact, the answer is yes. And the fact that we are going to use it to use to break is that the first six letters of the message are going to be Python. Now, in the next few videos, we are going to see how this will happen. In this process, we are going to learn about random numbers in Python. We are going to learn about the for loop once again. We are going to see how we can use whatever we have been doing, till now, including these encodings, including string slicing, and a statement called the break statement to actually break enemy's code. Now, just in case you're wondering that this looks totally, totally comical, totally, let's say, imaginary. In fact, the fact that we know some part of the enemy's message is not really, let's say, unusual. Something of this sort often happens. People figure out that maybe part of this message is this. So here we have just assumed it's Python, but even in more serious situations, for example, during World War, if you look at the story of the breaking of the Enigma, the German code, you will find that the British had actually figured out that the first part of a message is in fact a certain text which they knew what it was, right? So with that, they could break the code. Now, obviously, we have simplified the situation quite a bit, but still, this is a fairly realistic situation. And I hope this storyline makes it interesting because now you are thinking like a detective, and we are going to do some kind of inverse thinking to break what the enemy has done. Stay tuned with me. I hope you will enjoy this entire process, and in this process, you will find your Python learning even more rewarding. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.